Okay. It's quite a lot of rocks, I will just say that much. Whoa, he's actually entangling now properly. Whoa, is he doing a knot? That's excessive. Hi divers, and welcome back to another Scuba Diving reaction video. Today, as you can see, I've got a new mic. Hi, how's it sound? Am I like an ASMR streamer now? Hi. God, that's too much. That's too much. I'm not going to do that again. Maybe once more. Scuba. Okay, it's going to stop. But no, hopefully you like the audio. Hopefully it's like a nice upgrade. Let me know down in the comments. I'm curious to know if this is going to be awesome or if you're like, no, just go back to the old mic. But hopefully it's just going to improve the sound quality and maybe people who struggle with my accent might have a chance now. I don't know. Anyway, today we are reacting to Out of Gas, No Mask, Entangled in Guideline, Cave Diving Workshop with Majki. I think that's how you say the name. Majki? Majki, maybe. Now, I got told to watch this video by a friend because he was like, this is the most deranged training video he's ever seen. So we're going to wait and see if this really is just that bad. As always with these scuba diving reaction videos though, it is not to be mean to the divers involved in these videos, it is to use these videos as case studies so that we can have safer and happier dives ourselves without having to worry about getting into these incidents. And if we do end up in these incidents, we know how to handle it then. And from being a scuba diving instructor myself, I'm going to give you any tips and tricks during the video and a deep analysis at the end of the video and share my thoughts. With that all said though, let's jump into the video with my new microphone. Is it better like that when I go into it? Maybe I have to face it towards me. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe this is better. Maybe this is... We'll have to see. Anyway, guys. Okay, I've just seen, unfortunately, this video's got copyrighted music, so we're going to have to do this with no audio. So I'm going to put on music for you guys for your viewing pleasure, but just know I'm going to be watching this in silence. And unfortunately, it just means we won't be able to hear any of the actual noise on the dive, so like the breathing or anything else what we could hear. So, yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but let's just see how this goes. Okay, so it looks like they're doing the cave training in open water. Sure, that's fine, and they've obviously got things to recreate it, like that tight space there. That is very tight. I will also say with cave diving, by the way, it's where you really realise that you do feel claustrophobic. If you are someone who's not sure about if you're going to be claustrophobic, cave diving is going to make sure you do feel that and be aware of it. But seeing them putting down lines there, it's good. Is that toe? No, I think this instructor is going to do a shutdown. Looks like he's on the valves, so he's going to have an out of air situation. Yep, that's really good. And just goes grab the regulator. Just to point out, in caves, by the way, with low visibility and sometimes you won't be able to see, you can't just use signs and signals, so you can't do the out of air anymore. You do sometimes just have to do things by feel. So you're just going to have to go see your buddy and snatch their long hose off them, take out, even if it's regulated in their mouth, just so you can get it. They have, obviously, their alternate around their neck with this kind of twin tank setup, so they can just quickly switch to it. Very, very easy. So yeah, this seems very normal so far. Just back to the point by way about claustrophobic on dives. Some people, you kind of might have an idea if you're going to feel claustrophobic if you go to cave, just from the fact if you feel the mask's a bit restricted, like tunnel vision to you a little bit and makes it less POV. Also, just scuba gear in general just makes you a bit more restricted. This kind of signs that cave diving might not be for you because it just dials up way to 11 once you go to cave diving because it's going to be a lot more tight and a lot more claustrophobic. And obviously, not all the time you're going to be able to see. You're going to do a lot on feel. As you can see there, the guy's okaying the line just down there. I'm just going to move the mouse so you can see it. You're going to have that contact. That is the thing you're going to rely on. That's literally your safety net. It's really important you are following that line and not let going of it. So yeah, really, really important stuff. And so far, so good for these divers. Let's see how this continues. So not seeing anything too strange yet. Okay. Oh, we've got some rocks on them. Bit of aggressive throwing these on them. The rocks. It's quite a few rocks he's put on there. Again, this can happen, of course, as some instructors will do this. The big challenge, by the way, with this is actually it's going to affect your buoyancy. It's going to make you have to adjust your buoyancy and whatnot because you don't want to be touching the bottom because that's going to stir up the silt and it's just a big no-no in caves. So, yeah, that's actually a challenge. I would say it's probably a bit excessive on the rocks. Probably didn't need that many, but it's fine. That's fine. It's still okay in the line. Seems to be all good. Yep. Okay. It's quite a lot of rocks. I will just say that much. Okay, what's going on here? I can't see much. Okay, you can see the silt being churned up a bit though and whatnot. Oh, looks like he's donating his regulator. I can't see. Okay. Oh, yeah, so he's got a gas leak there, so he bubbles. So he's done a shutdown. He's getting his buddy to check on him. Yeah, so he's got contact then to see, is it okay? He's getting his buddy to help him out now. So he's going to help check it out for him. I will say, yeah, okay, make sure he's holding the line while he's the victim. Good. Yeah, it's good. And he might have to swap his regulator. Okay, masks off. Oh, he's looking him around there. Okay. So. Oh, whoa, he's actually entangling him now properly. Whoa, is he doing a knot? That's excessive. That's really, really sneaky and obsessive. I will just say, actually, I'm just going to make a quick comment about that. I kind of get from why the instructor might do that. I will say it's excessive. It's not a realistic problem that suddenly the main line is going to be entangled with you being perfect knot and whatnot. But whatnot? Oh my god, that's such a bad pun. But the realistic situation here is the realistic outcome here is what the instructor wants is that you're going to have to cut the line. You're going to be too entangled too hard. It's going to be too hard to actually try and resolve and fix, even with a buddy trying to figure it out with limited visibility and mobility potentially in the cave. So you just cut the line. Even if it's the main line here, it is part of the training in cave courses, how to reattach the lines. I believe though most people don't do it within the cave, so this makes more sense that they're doing this problem in an open water setting, just so they get a bit of practice at it. But yeah, I think the reason why it's excessively tied it made this kind of entanglement hazard just to prove a point that you do need to cut the line here. And again, just a reminder, bring dive knives. It's really important. Even in open water dives, which are not cave related, having a knife is a very valuable piece of kit. Yeah, so yeah, he's realised now he's entangled. So hopefully we see him cut the line now. Or maybe not. Oh, you can see there, it's, that's the end of the thread there. So he has cut the line. I'm guessing they're going to have to try and reattach the line, which can be really hard, by the way, in case, again, limited visibility. He's just feeling for it, I think. Oh, what's the instructor doing? Is he stealing his mask? Or flooding his mask? That felt a bit random. Oh, he's got no mask now. Okay, let's just quickly talk about that. So obviously in cave diving is a bit like technical diving in the sense that you have redundancies. You should have backups. So if your mask breaks for any reason, you accidentally get hit or by, again, falling rocks or something happens that causes the mask to be no longer functional, the strap goes, you have a backup. You should have a backup in some stowed away in a pocket or whatnot, so that you can then swap to it. Obviously, the scenario is maybe even assume that both masks have gone, but just keep in mind that when it comes to cave diving, you should always have backups with you. But yeah, this is obviously quite challenging for them now. They really have to rely on staying onto that line and okaying the line. Yeah, both no masks. I also noticed they're touching the bottom of it there. That's not good. They should try and keep that off the bottom here. A lot of silt's being churned up. This would be even worse in the cave, obviously. Keep that in mind. And, oh wait, he's got no fins. There's some fins there and he's got no fins on. I would just say that's a little bit unrealistic. When it comes to problems, by the way, when it comes to rescue course in like recreational and like caves and the problems you'll get there and also technical diving, I think problems should always be realistic. So when you go into these things where it gets a bit excessive, like, oh, they lost their masks now and their fins are gone now. I'm not saying this is not impossible for it to happen to you, but it feels a little bit on the excessive side. And it's a bit like, is this no longer a realistic problem is the issue? It also has a little bit of stress test kind of vibes, this whole dive here does. If anyone does not know what a stress test is, let's just go over that real quickly right now. So during the Dive Master course, at the very end of the course, you do something called an equipment exchange. Equipment exchange is when there's two divers in a confined water scenario where they have to work together to swap each other's masks with each other, swap their BCDs with each other, and swap the fins with each other. Now, the caveat to this as well is that only one cylinder is turned on, so you have to do something called buddy breathing. So you take a breath out of the regulator, then you pass it to your buddy, so they can take a breath, then you pass it back to you, then you take a breath, and so forth. And you go into this like kind of rhythm. And obviously, when you don't have regulator in your mouth, you should be slowly exhaling. So it kind of has this kind of challenge to it. I say it's the thing what you do at the final part of your Dive Master, and it is a bit like a game almost at the end of it. It feels like a fun little challenge, and that's how the final thing you do before you complete the course. After that, you can do something optional, which is called a stress test. And a stress test is basically doing the same thing when you swap the equipment back with each other, so you get back to your original equipment, but the instructors get involved now and they're going to put you into duress and throw problems at you, make it more complicated. So it could be entanglement, they get a line and entangle you with that. They might steal your mask and make it harder for you to retrieve. They might undo your tank band. They might even bring some extra scuba cylinders with them in the pool to blast at you to make things harder. They might disconnect your LPI, things like that. Just issues which make the whole situation harder and harder to deal with. I don't want to give away all the secrets, obviously, to that. But no, that is fully optional. You don't have to do it if you feel like that's going to stress you out too much or it's just something you don't feel comfortable doing. You don't have to do it. But from everyone who does basically do stress tests, I'm pretty sure it's a unanimous feeling that it's seen as a bit of a fun game. It's a lot of fun. It makes you a better diver to just handle these problems and just, yeah, it's just, again, it was just a bit of a laugh. And I feel like this kind of course right now has that kind of vibe. As long as the instructor here briefed them like, hey, I'm going to throw some problems at you, I'm going to do things which is ultimately here to make you a better diver. It might not be a little bit realistic at times. I'm just going to throw some kind of crazy stuff out there, and it's all about you having to deal with it and it's ultimately make you a better diver. I feel like it has that kind of vibe to it. So as long as they're consented, as long as they've been kind of warned in advance that this stuff's going to get a bit crazy on this dive, I think this is actually completely fine. It might seem excessive to some people, but just know this is in their best interest that they are going to have this kind of diving. Also with the context, like this is online, it's been posted and whatnot, I feel like these divers are okay with it. And they are seem to be relatively calm. I wouldn't say it's been perfect execution. Sometimes there's been some clunkiness here and there, and they've definitely touched the bottom a few times and turned up some silt. But generally from calmness, there's been no panicking, relatively handling stress well. And as I say, the more problems they get thrown at them, a bit more stress is going to arise, more discomfort's going to be there. So this is obviously going to really challenge them and push them. And you could argue that they've done this as well because the conditions are in open water. It's not as hard as being in an actual cave. So the instructors doing excessively just to compensate for the fact that it's in nicer conditions than they would be in the actual cave system. But anyway, let's continue because that was a bit of a long Tom tangents. So yeah, see, they're still both on the line. Looking good. Even though they've got no masks. Also, by the way, no fins. That's going to be a very slow exit out of the cave. So you've got to keep that in mind. Obviously, with limited gas you might have sort of things. Having very slow exits like this can be quite worrying. He's going to take his fins off now as well. So they're both going to go super slowly. Not the best, realistically. But yeah, and I say, I don't really... Cave divers come out at me, but I don't think it's a common problem to lose your fins on the cave dive. I think he's been a bit excessive there with this. And obviously, no masks as well. Especially if these are just students. This feels like a lot, but as I say, it will make them better divers handling situations. So they're still okay in the line, looks like. I'm trying to see. Loads have still been churned up, so they've been touching the bottom a lot there. So not the best on that side of things. Like, I'm sure some instructors would be trying to pull them off the bottom, like, oi, get your fins up and whatnot. Oh, wow, that's a massive equipment failure. So with that, both the things are just hemorrhaging gas now. So he's going to have to shut down. That left one definitely shutting down. So he's going to his buddy asking about, is there bubbles? Signaling for bubbles. He's telling it's on the right hand side. Or his left, I guess. So he's shut it down. Okay, so now he's not got any working. So he's swapping his regulators and he's going to turn on the other one now so he can breathe off his other regulator. Of the tank, sorry. And it's still hemorrhaging. So there's still bubbles. I will say you probably could hear it as well at this point because it's just so loud. But this is good communication about the buddy's doing it sort of thing to help him out here. Why did the buddy do it? He should just done that himself, really. That's a bit lazy. But still making contact with the line, that's good. And he obviously donated the long hose to him, which is good. Wait. Let's go back as 5 seconds. Did he just take his mask off to receive air? What the heck?
What sorcery is this?
I don't know why he did that. That's not an instructor fault, by the way. This is just a student doing something a little bit odd there. I don't know why he did that. And the other guy's already got his mask on his forehead. I don't know what's going on with that. Strange. Okay. Anyway. So he's donated air to him. Oh, and the mask's fallen off. I don't think the instructor's stealing the masks. I think he's just taking them to get out of the way so they're not getting more problematic here. And it's entangled again. You can see it around the first stage there. It's all entangled. So that's another situation where, again, he's probably going to have to cut the line. Hopefully, we'll see that. Because it's going to be hard. Again, remember, in some caves, it's going to be limited mobility and accessibility. It's not as easy as, oh, I can entangle it or get buddies to do it. And yeah, good stuff. You just cut the line. Again, and you see that it's already been tied to the in between cuts there. They've repaired the line because that's super important. They need that main line to get out of the cave. Yeah, this is good. So still okay in the line. That's really good. Like, that line is a lifeline. They need to be holding on to that. So, I say, generally speaking, I feel like this is okay. And maybe the problems have been a bit excessive, but I don't think there's been too much of an issue realistically here. Okay. What's he doing now? Because his hand's not on the line. Okay, I didn't see what was the issue, what he's doing there. And oh, nope, you're not going that way. I think that's the same. Like, that's not an entrance, by the way. Yeah, that's why the instructor jumped in there to do that. Again, limited visibility. Sometimes you won't be able to see very clearly to know which way to go. It is going to be done by feel and touch. So again, not too big of an issue as long as you didn't whack him too hard on the head there. That's why we cave diving typically wear helmets as well, just protects your head so you don't accidentally crash into a wall or whatnot. And that's the dive. So yeah, I think all things considered, it was a little bit excessive, but I guess to say, as long as it was briefed in advance, as long as they kind of pre-warned about it, that it's done it for the best interest, I think it's kind of fine. Maybe not very realistic, which I think can be the issue with some training. I think it's not always like good when it's like, oh, this problem probably won't ever happen. Like, oh, you're going to have equipment failure, so you're going to have to suddenly be a victim and breathe off your buddy's long hose, and then suddenly your mask goes and his mask goes, and you both lost your fins, and then you're entangled, and that's a bit excessive. And also rocks on back, like 4 big boulders on your back, I think at one point he had. There's a bit much. Obviously, all responses weren't always simultaneous, but it is a lot. And I think ultimately for training purposes, you want to train people for the worst case scenario. It's in a controlled, especially open water environment like that. That's where you can kind of throw stuff at the wall and kind of make it really harder, because in an actual cave environment, in a lot more like limited space, obviously bigger risks come. If things do start to go wrong and the student panics and freaks out, this can get really nasty real quick. So I think doing excess problems here in a pseudo confined space, it's not exactly confined, I think that's actually a lot more understandable and not as dangerous as some people might look, especially for a newer or non-diver watching this going like, whoa, this is crazy. It's for the best interest ultimately, and I'm kind of supporting of it. As I say, as long as they consented and as long as they're pre-warned, that's all I really care about for that side of things. But let me know what you think. Do you agree with it? My thoughts on this one? Do you have other thoughts? Anyway, divers, if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me out a ton, but help other divers find this video too. And if you enjoyed it, I think you should check out this video here. This is another crazy cave video, which I think you're going to enjoy. And that button down there, that is to subscribe to me. You should hit that button so you stay notified when I post my next video. Anyway, divers, hope you're having awesome and safe dives, and I'm going to see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.